Namaste. I wish we could be together in person, but the situation is not going to allow us to. So I want you guys to know this is actually my first time getting back in the studio an entire week. And I was fortunate to talk to most all the teachers yesterday just to check in to see how everyone was doing. And I am happy to report that most of us are pretty contented in the midst of the chaos. We are practicing our yoga in other ways. And we hope that you have taken our teachings and the tools that we've given you through these classes and over the years and implementing them now. I know that it can be a little scary when you're dealing with an uncertain situation and in challenging times that we're facing right now. And I'm not going to do a big Dharma talk because honestly, I told the other teachers, I said, only film a practice if you feel inspired to do so. I want the authenticity to come across. I don't want it to just be about the poses, but at the same time, the Dharma talks are much more impactful when we're together and we have that shared energy. So I thought I would give you the Moon Salutation. I mean, coming back to half moon yoga, and you know my love affair with the moon, I thought that we could just consider the fact that even though we may be holding ourselves up at home and not getting out and practicing social distancing and not being able to join together as a community, that we can still remember that when we go outside, we're still underneath the same moon. We're still on the same planet of Mother Earth. We are still having the beautiful sunlight shining down from the sun, and our hearts are interwoven together. So even though we can't be physically together right now, we are still connected. We are all a part of the whole, and the whole is a part of us. You know, when you think about the moon is basically a reflection of the sunlight. And we see, you know, different phases of the moon, you know, from it beginning its crescent to going into the half to moving into the full, and then it starts to, you know, wane back. It starts to go back into the half, back to the crescent, and so on and so forth. So the phases of the moon are pretty predictable, just like it's pretty predictable for the sun to rise every morning and the sun to set every evening. So nature has its own course, and just like the moon, we go through our own phases in life. We have our own seasons that we have to deal with, and unfortunately, this is what's happening right now. Remember in the Yoga Sutras, the very first word is now. Now we come to the teachings of yoga. In the second sutra, yoga is the neutralization of the fluctuations of the mind. So we have to remember it's not just about striking poses. It's really about where our mind and our hearts are at. So when you think about being at home, and if you're feeling isolated, if you perhaps live alone, I know it could potentially be lonely. So just remember, if you're feeling disconnected or feeling any type of separateness or sadness, it's important to get tapped in, tuned in, and turned on. And the way we do that is to go within. So let's take a few minutes to center. Let's create some good posture. Sit in any comfortable seat and close and shield your eyes. Take a moment just to notice the ground beneath your sits bones. And take a moment to follow the exhalation all the way down, to allow the hips and the pelvis to get a little bit heavier. And as you begin to feel a little bit heavier through your lower body, then also remember, we're creating two lines of energy here. We want to be grounded, but we also want to uplift ourselves. So if you start to align your spine, stacking one vertebra on top of the other, if you lift the side waist out of the rim of the pelvis, if you allow your floating ribs to adjust upward, and if you allow the sternum to rise in its splendor. You'll feel yourself growing taller, the crown of the head getting a little loftier. And then I want us to just sit and breathe. Breathing in and out through the nose. Letting that breath help you to tap back in, to tune within, to get turned on energetically. When we start to go within, especially deeper in our meditations, we discover we are never really alone. Just as the moon reflects the sun, we also are reflecting our inner light, the moonbeam light of our soul when we connect to source energy. Source energy being the universal energy, the universal consciousness behind everything and everyone. Notice the spring action of the spine, every inhalation growing a little bit taller, and every exhalation settling back down and in. Pay attention to the way you're feeling from the inside out, perhaps noticing any pockets of tension, tightness, in comparison to the areas that may feel free and open already. Notice the state of your mind and emotions. And remember, yoga can neutralize the fluctuations of the mind and the whirlpools of emotion that may be swirling within. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart, and slightly bow your head in that direction, remembering this gesture of grace and gratitude, this gesture that represents union. Set your personal intention for the practice. Maybe dedicate your practice to someone who needs some healing. And that can include yourself. Now we'll lift the head back up and we'll do just a little pranayama technique. I learned this from Sri Robbie Michelle in Boone about, a year and a half ago. The breath that we're going to do, on the inhale, we're going to extend the arms up overhead and extend the fingertips wide. And then as we exhale, we're going to drop the fists down right in front of the shoulders again, breathing out through the nose. So it looks like this. All right, you might have already joined me, but we'll do it in 3 sets. And it's a very energizing and rejuvenating type of breath. So let's create a higher frequency and energy for ourselves in the now. Let's begin. Three, 2, 1. Release the back of your hands down. Feel the weight in your arms. It may feel a little heavy. Perhaps any vibration or tingling sensation through the fingertips, and allow yourself to be absorbed within that. Maybe even noticing how it dissolves and dissipates or flows to different areas of the body. Round 2, let's begin. Three, 2, 1. Relax a moment. Swallow if you need to. Check in with the residual effects, mentally, physically, energetically, and otherwise. 3rd round, let's begin. Three, 2, 1, and release. Sit with us a moment. Your heart rate may have sped up. Remember, you can slow it down through the power and control of your own breath. Try something fun. I actually saw a news clip recently of, I think it was the BBC or some sort of British station that was talking about this particular yoga move. And I'm wanting to say it comes from Kundalini Yoga, but I'm not certain, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But the knees lift up, you're resting on the outer edges of the feet. Try not to use your hands to come up. If you can't do it, just come up any way that is possible for you. And we'll stand at the top of the mat, or whatever space or rug or whatever you tend to use. If you look down at the soles, at the feet, plant the soles of the feet to the floor and spread the toes nice and wide. When you're really rooting and grounding through the feet, it should solidify the legs. The muscles get snug and hug around the bones. And we're gonna lift up again through our trunk and bring the hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at the heart. On your next inhalation, lace the fingers together and reach the arms up overhead. Pause here for a moment and just feel the 2 lines of energy that you felt when you were sitting. A rooting down through the base of the body and a rising up. In this moment, through your wrist. On your next exhalation, you're gently going to start to swerving curve over to the right side. Now, if you root a little bit more through that left foot, anchor it down, lift a little higher up out of your right side waist, keep the arms tracking alongside your ears, and breathe fully into that left lung. And if you by chance have learned the alternate lung breath, you can try to explore breathing into that side more. Feel free to have the eyes open or at half mast or even closed. And then affirm mentally within yourself, strength and courage is filling up my body cells. Strength and courage is filling up my spirit to get through this phase in life. Now on your next inhalation, go ahead and begin to rise back up. Step off to your left side, create Kali Goddess. You're in a wide kind of victory squat. Your thighs are rolling away from one another. Take one more deep breath in, keeping the elbows as high as your shoulders. And then if you want to create a moonbeam hand, you can close the fingers together, or you can keep sunbeam hands. On your next inhalation, slowly straighten out the legs. Create a parallel line with your feet. Radiate out through the fingertips. And then gently turn the right foot 90 degrees. As you inhale, start to lengthen out over the front leg. And as you exhale, windmill the arms down to Trikonasana, triangle pose. Ground your feet. Stack the shoulders. Press back into your hips. Make sure the vertebrae stays long and open. If it feels comfortable to the neck, you can gaze up. If you choose to gaze up, affirm mentally within, energy and joy flood my body cells. If you need to cast your gaze down, affirm mentally within, I am grounded and anchored in myself. On your next exhalation, go ahead and carry that left arm over and across the side of the face. Lunge the right knee just a bit. Turn And then offset your left foot. Begin to straighten out the front leg. And you can always prop your hands onto the shin or onto blocks if you have that available, or just surrender completely. Try to square your hips as best you can. Try not to white knuckle the fingers. Instead, put the weight in your feet, the primary foundation of the pose. As you affirm here, as you hold this shape, I give myself over to the flow of grace. On your next inhale, lift and lengthen out through the spine. Look out and forward with your eyes. Lunge that knee so it tracks right over the ankle, and then spin and sliver your left toes back. Stay stacked on your hands. Pluck up through your back thigh. Then plant your left hand and reach up with your right arm. Take time to breathe. As you exhale, lower the right hand down to the floor. Start to bring your hands or blocks with you to the left. You're going to turn your right toes towards the corner of the mat, and you're moving into a side lunge. Now, there's also Skandasana, different formations you can do with your arms. You're welcome to do that. I'm just going to be slow and steady. And then I'm going to walk the hands over towards the left side, straightening out the right leg. If you want to do this kind of crouching tiger back and forth, you can go back and forth between the two sides. And then eventually we'll come back to center, turn the feet parallel with each other, reach out through the crown of the head, and then spin the heels in, sit down with your hips, bring the palms together, take Malasana. Now your heels might actually lift away from the floor. And if your knees can't handle this much flexion, come back to the Kali Goddess one, or victory squat a little bit higher. On the next inhale, we're slowly going to pick ourselves back up, turn the heels to be parallel with each other again, and extend long through your arms. Take a couple deep breaths. And then slowly turn your left foot, 90-degree angle. Press back and flex through the hips. Windmill down with the arms, Trikonasana. From your triangle pose, root and ground the feet. Your hand can also rest in front of the shin, so you're not as dependent on the hand. You can cast the gaze up, affirming energy and joy. Flood down to me. Or if you choose to look down, affirm, I am grounded and anchored in myself. On your next out breath, go ahead and take the right arm over, slight bend in the front knee, spin to the back toes, offset the right foot, plant it down, slowly straighten out the front leg, spin your right hip forward, slide your left hip up and back, and bow out. Remembering each side may be different. Respect and honor each side individually. Again, the weight is in the feet, not just in your hands. If it's unsafe for you to continue to fold forward, you can always extend long through the spine. Adding in the affirmation, I give myself over into the flow of grace. Slightly bend and lunge into the left knee, slither the right toes back, come to the slow lunge, pick up your back thigh bone. Press down through your right hand and slowly carry it skyward. Taking the time to rotate into the twist, to pause and breathe. And then lower the left hand down to the floor. We're going to do a quick vinyasa in the mix. So extend the left leg back to plank. Exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog. On your next inhale, step the feet to the front. Open up the heart center. Exhale, bow out. On the next inhale, sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Lace your fingers. Roll the wrists skyward. Exhale, curve to your left. Breathe up and through the whole right side of the body. Alternate lung breath is possible. Strength and courage fill up my body cells. Strength and courage fill up my spirit. Inhale, rise up to the top. Exhale, curve to the right. Inhale when you rise up. We're going to step off to the other side. Come to Kali Goddess. All right, we're going to bring the hands to prayer position at the heart. And on the inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're coming back down. 2 more times. Inhaling up. Exhaling down the center. 1 more. And then open up the arms. We're going to take 3 lion's breath. When you're ready. Inhale, slowly straighten the legs. Create that parallel line with your feet. Rotate the right foot 90 degrees. Lengthen out over that side. Exhale, windmill down to your triangle pose. From triangle pose, we're going to bring the left hand back around. We're going to spin away from the back heel this time. You can hold here on the ball of the back foot, extending out through the spine, or you can spill over. Now you can stay stacked on the left fingertips, or you can ground that hand, but we're going to carry the right arm up in the air. This is going to target that IT band more. Be patient as it unravels. Exhale, lunge the knee. Come back to Skandasana, side lunge. And then if you want to move into this variation where you pick up the right heel, sit in its direction, flip the left toes up in the air. You can pause here, or you can walk your hands around and bow over the straight leg. Inhale, when you're ready to come up, you'll turn the hands back towards the side of the mat. You'll plant the left foot, and you'll walk it back over to the left. Now, if you want to do the same thing that we did on the previous side, you're welcome to. But if you want to change it up a little bit, you're welcome to sit towards the left heel, flex the right foot, feel the work through the inner thigh growing hamstrings. That will tell you whether or not you want to continue and maybe deepen. This side's really locked up for me right now. It's that right masculine side. It's also the side that tends to hold some frustrations. And then we'll slowly bring the hands back around. We'll slowly turn the feet parallel again. This time, we're going to take the hands to the hips. You can come up halfway, and then we're slowly going to bow back over and down. We're coming into basically Prasarita Padottanasana. If you roll the shoulders back and pick up the wings of the arms, balance your weight evenly on the feet, gaining the benefits of being in this inversion. If you want to plant the feet and drill them down to rise up, you can go a little deeper with your heart center. You can open up the shoulders more by lacing the hands, rolling them open, and then gently folding again. I'm going to release the hands. We heel toe the feet in a little bit, taking Malasana. Now, if you want to do something else with Malasana, you can always take a twist to either side. You can always get more yin and surrender by getting heavier through the hips and rounding the back, and dropping into prayer hands, being a little reflective on what we can still be grateful for. And then slowly start to come back up. If you want to add in a crow pose or an arm balance, you can. Crow pose, of course, hands here, shoulder distance apart, leaning forward into the arms, finding the fulcrum of your balance to breathe. Head stays lifted. If you want to go into something else like Bhuja Pindasana, you can take the hands back. You can flex and float the feet. You can crisscross the ankles. We'll eventually come back down to squats. Inhale back up. Turn the feet parallel. Extend long through your arms. Left foot rotates. Lengthen out over to that side. Windmill down, triangle. Ideally, you want to make sure that your hips are not back and the left shoulder is not moving forward. You want to try to align the ribs over the thigh, the back of the head to the sacrum, as best you can. All right, we're gonna lunge that front knee just a little bit. We're gonna bring the hands down. We're gonna spin off the back heel and slowly straighten out the front leg. Want to move into the twist. Remember, that's going to activate that iliotibial band. You may need something to set that right hand upon. Exhale, bring the hand down to the floor. We're going to take the left foot back to plank. If you want a full vinyasa, seize the opportunity and take it. Otherwise, you can dip your knees to the floor and fold back to extended child's. From child's, if you skip the vinyasa, return to downward facing dog. When you're ready, bring the feet to the top of the mat. Open up the heart center. Exhale, let go. Inhale all the way up to the top. Reclasp your hands. Move the wrist skyward. Exhale, last crescent moon to the left. Inhale, bring yourself back to center. Exhale, bring the hands to namaste at the heart. Close your eyes. Check in and affirm mentally within. Salutations to the moon and to the awakening light within, and to the dawning of a much higher state of consciousness in all beings. We're going to drape the arms down and then lift them up on the inhale and peeling the heels away from the earth. A version of Utkatasana chair. This is the Ananda Yoga version of chair. And then if you want to continue to move down towards toe balance, you can bring your hands back to prayer position at your heart center. You can lean forward to place the hands to the floor and feel free to balance on the hands. Extend the legs to sit back down. When you sit down, let's bring the soles of the feet together. Lift up through your chest and exhale, hinge from the hips. You want to make sure that you're not just rounding and dumping over. Although in yin, the version of butterfly, the feet are further out and you can round the back. This version, the heels are closer. Baddha Konasana is with a straight back. I think this is probably one of the most important affirmations for us right now. So close your eyes, take a few deep breaths here, and affirm mentally to yourself, stating it once, twice, or 3 times over in your mind. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Secure in myself, I accept whatever is. Inhale, slowly rise to the top. Bring the knees together. Slide out through your legs. Lean forward, scoop your sits bones back. Reach the arms up overhead and exhale to Paschimottanasana. So Paschimottanasana, you don't have to go, obviously, this deep. Depends on where you're at with your hamstrings. It depends on your low back. Depends on your hips. With your toes lifting and slightly drawing back towards your knees, if your hands by chance touch the feet, there's different ways to hold. You can clasp the first 2 fingers around each big toe. You can take the hands around the outer edges of the feet. And your thumb can go into that little groove between the first and second toe. There's an acupressure point there. You can also lace your fingers around the soles of the feet and lower. But ideally, it is about laying the navel out over the thighs, the heart shining up and down over the knees. And traditionally, you can gaze forward, but you can also continue to extend through the neck. And if that's the case, the lower you go, the head actually falls in the direction of the shins. And I always think of Gwen when I say this affirmation. So if you know and remember Gwen, if you've been to the studio, this was her favorite one. I am safe, I am sound, and good things come to me and bring me peace. On your next inhale, we're slowly gonna draw ourselves up. We're gonna lift the arms up as well. We're gonna scoop in through the belly. The heels will start to slide back, that's all right. Let the heels go ahead and slide back and apart. And then go ahead and roll down to your back. And then you can soften in your belly. Let your hands flip open. And take a moment just to find some comfort, some stillness. And just notice how you feel now after moving your body, after shifting some energy around, and maybe emptying some of your mind. I'm personally feeling called to do the pentacle pose. This is more of the yin approach to corpse. So I'm shifting my shape. Arms slightly overhead. If you perhaps try that, just notice what changes in your back, your low back, by doing that. How it lifts a little. Notice you get a little upliftment through the cavity or center of your chest. And BKS Iyengar used to say, when you keep the pit of the arms open, you're less apt to be depressed. Take a few rounds of deep yogic breathing. Now let the control of the breath subside. Let your feet relax to the degree that they slightly roll away from one another. Let all the muscles of the legs soften so they feel as though they're stripping away from the bones. Soften in your belly so it can bellow in and out as you breathe. And perhaps allowing your inner awareness to surf the wave of the breath as it travels up and down. As you fill up and empty back out. Soften your jaw, your teeth, your tongue, your lips. Your cheeks, the flesh surrounding the eyes, and the space in between. At the brow where we often show expression. If your mind is still wanting to think or roll or roam, then maybe plug in the affirmation. Bones, muscles, movement, eyes, surrender now. Anxiety, elation, depression, and any and all turning thoughts, I now give over to the hands of peace. Peace, be still. Be still and know that I am. your Shavasana, please pause the recording. Otherwise, inhale, stretch long through your legs and point through your toes. Lengthen the arms back alongside your ears, reaching to either side of the room, and then as you exhale, close into self. Wrap your arms around with Maitri and Metta, loving kindness, and radical self-acceptance. Take your arms back off to the sides, and as you exhale, roll the knees off to the left. You're welcome to turn the head to the right. We'll inhale, roll back to center. Catch the shins or knees again. After you reset, extend the arms on the in-breath and roll the knees to the right on the out-breath. You can even turn your head to the left side. When you're ready, turn the head to center. Bring the left arm around to the right. Pause here. A quick moment of gratitude to the earth, all the resources she provides. This third rock from the sun that we call home. May we understand her pain and this process that's helping her to heal, even though it may be hurting humankind. Press down into that hand and slowly gather your strength. Slowly rise up. Take a comfortable seat. And let's sit. Just sit and breathe. And if you want the Jnana hand mudra, bring the index finger to meet either thumb. Extend the other fingers. The symbol that represents wisdom. The lower self connecting to the higher self, or the authentic self or soul connected to source energy. The universe at large, or God, the creator, whatever term you want to put with it. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your thumbs now to the third eye. May we all walk away from this practice feeling free and at peace from anything out of our control. May we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace from anything imposed upon us by another. And may we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace from any internal stressors of our own. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let there be peace, peace, everlasting peace. And may we be an instrument of that peace. Namaste. Thanks you guys for joining me, and we will continue to upload some classes and videos and meditations so that we can all stay connected and enjoy.